Welcome to TSC Talks, the podcast where we talk about tuberous sclerosis complex. I'm your host, Jill Woodworth, and thanks for tuning in. On today's podcast, we have Adriana Piltz. She's wonderful, and she's going to talk to us about her vision and project called Nicky's Garden of Hope. She has a son, Nicky, who's 20 and has TSC and IDD, and she's developed this project based on her concern for what will happen to Nicky after she's gone. So I think there's other parents out there that can relate and might want to get involved. So listen up, and I hope you enjoy. Take it away, Adriana.
Adriana speaking.
Hi, Adriana. It's Jill.
Hi, Jill. How are you?
I'm good. How are you?
Oh, good.
Yeah.
Tired, but good.
I know. Sorry to do it so early. So thanks for doing it in the morning.
Oh, no worries. I'm up. I'm insomniac, so I'm up around like 3 o'clock in the morning.
Me too. Yeah.
And it's the best time because it's so quiet.
I know.
And there's nobody around, and I get much more stuff done from between 3 and 7 when I have to getting kids ready for school. That it's like, oh, so peaceful.
Yeah, I know. I'm telling you, I've started getting up like early and just doing stuff too. Yeah, it works.
Yes, it does.
Hey, so tell me a little bit about your experience with TSC. Give me a little bit of background.
Yeah, so I mean, I was pretty young when I was pregnant with Nicky, and when I was 4 months pregnant, we went for the ultrasound, and then they find the tumor on his heart. Now, at the time, I mean, he's going to be 20 years old already.
Wow.
But at the time, they had no idea, they had no idea about TSC. Even now, they don't really know what's going on. I mean, we know that it's just, it's the protein tuber, it's insufficient and everything else, but it's very hard to control it or detect or predict what's going to happen.
Right.
So from when they find out that Nicky has a tumor on his heart, from then on, every 2 weeks I had to go for ultrasound.
Yep.
And they were always ready to take him out if there would be any distractions in his heartbeat, to take him out, do the surgery, put it back in. Which is
nothing like a little stress for you.
Yes. There was always kind of scary to go for ultrasound because you had like 4 doctors around you and waiting for the worst.
Yeah.
But then he was due on December 11th, but they had to induce the labor till December 22nd because he was 2 weeks overdue. Okay. And he was almost 10 pounds baby. I mean, he was 9 pounds and 3 ounces. And then he had a water in his lungs, and so he stayed in the NICU, and I was feeling bad because my baby didn't fit in an incubator in the NICU. I had to bring the crib from the pediatric, where you see those babies in the NICU were like 2-pounders, and and the mother's looking at me like, what's wrong with me? Why the kid is in there? I'm like, he had a water, and they had to do the EKG for him because of the heart, and then did the MRI because they found that he has on his brain.
Yep.
Pretty
typical TSC stuff early on.
Yes, exactly. And then he had the leaf, the mark, and he was okay, but at 2 months, he's starting to have infantile spasms. And being a young mother, not ever experienced any seizures or anything like it. I'm looking at him, and I'm like, tell my husband, I said, what is this? It looks like, I started to call a statue because he became like a statue, stiff and just, staring.
Yeah.
So we went to a doctor, and he goes, well, this is one of the signs of TSC. And then they put him on a Topamax, Tegretol, and phenobarbital. All three of them, 3 times a day. I mean, the baby became very mellow, not, phenobarbital is, I'm not a doctor, so I cannot say it. But
it's
it makes you
benzo
calm.
Or
yes. It makes you sleep. It makes you tired. It makes you calm. It makes you but at the same time, he couldn't develop properly, right? And
right.
They tried to remove it. He was getting even more.
So did that combo stop the spasms? No. They didn't suggest vigabatrin?
Well, this is the thing, in the United States.
I know. It was like 20 years ago. Yep,
yeah.
I had to get it from freaking Canada or
we
Mexico.
Did too.
Did you?
We did it from Canada, so we did the research.
Yep.
And we went to the doctor, and I said, okay, I know that it's illegal in the United States. I don't give a flying, pardon my language. I said, I'm going to order from Canada. So we found a pharmacy in Canada. It wasn't cheap. I mean, 20 years ago, it was like $170 a month.
Yes.
And he was on like 3 of them or 4 of them, a day. So, and then I said, okay, I don't care. I said, I'd rather not eat, but then they help. They help. But in Canada, I got the order from the United States. They could no longer ship. Now, I have advantage, compared to a lot of or most people living in the United States. I have a family in Slovakia.
Okay.
So I made Nicky, I got him Slovakian citizenship. I flew with him to Slovakia, got a neurologist, and she's been his neurologist in Slovakia since he was 4 years old or 5 years old. And I'm getting, my dad was shipping, she was all just prescribed, and it cost me to Europe. Right?
Yep.
Because he got all citizenship, he got healthcare is different there than in the United States. So my dad would ship, every 2 months, 4 boxes.
So you did that so he could get it legally,
somewhere else, and I don't have to spend a lot of money here. Over here it's crazy. I mean, it costs, I don't even know how much it costs right now.
Oh gosh, I don't either. Don't want to.
Me neither.
Though I feel bad. Yeah.
Right, and then,
go ahead. You go ahead.
And then, from there, I went to college, and my dad said, you know what, because you need to finish the college as soon as possible. Let Nicky live with us. I mean, he has the best neurologist in the country. The doctors are here. We have a big house. My mom and my dad were living alone. And I said, okay, so Nicky was living with them for 3 years, and he was getting better because they have a backyard, and, the doctors, I don't want to sound bad, but doctors over there, there's not so many vaccines. There's not so many, they're not going to put medication just to put it, right? So he was getting a little bit better. It's a different
philosophy of care.
Exactly. And then in 2007, I tried to research the brain surgery for him because, he still had his seizures a little bit.
Did the spasms stop with the vigabatrin for you?
Yes.
Oh, that's good.
Yeah, the spasms stopped. Yeah. But I found Dr. Howard Rayner. He was based in New York. We met with him. Nicky came back from Slovakia, and he had all those tests done. And Dr. Rayner surgery is a 3-step surgery, but they pinpoint exactly where Nicky's seizures are coming from.
Okay.
At that point, he had between 50 to 100 seizures.
Wow.
But a lot of them were subclinical. Like you couldn't see it only on EEG.
Okay.
Right. So.
Yeah.
So I mean, it was, he was nonverbal. He walks, but he walks only in the short distances.
Yep. So how old was he at this point?
Hold on. It was in 2007.
So
he was born 1998. So he was almost 9 because his birthday is in December. Yep.
So he's developmentally behind, nonverbal, and
Yeah, it was, completely, he was smiling, but he wasn't aggressive. Is the thing. He was very, very calm, very happy child, very, loving. But after, then he had the surgery in July 7th was the first surgery where it was like 7-hour surgery where they removed the tumor, they put a grid in his brain. And then after 2 hours after the surgery, I was laying next to him and his heart stopped and you just hear the flat line. And and I was there by myself with him, and there was another dad in the NYU Medical. the one room in the NICU, in the ICU after the surgery was all TSC because Dr. Rayner did surgeries only on Thursday.
Okay. So it was all people that had
TSC.
Okay.
Yes. And there was another dad from Virginia with his boys, whose name is Torby. My son, Nicky, and Torby looked exactly alike.
Really?
And had the same, nonverbal, but Torby had a tumor in the middle of his brain, so they couldn't operate. But they did the surgery to remove the tumors that he had, I think, on the side.
I see.
But, so Torby's dad was there, and, the settling nurse comes in, call the doctor, and you see people pumping your, 8-year-old son hard, and I'm just like looking at him breathing, and he's like, everything's gonna be fine, everything's gonna be fine. He just breathe. And I was like, okay, and it sounded like after, for me, it was like eternity. After probably like 20, 30 seconds, you hear the heartbeat, and I literally collapsed. I'm like, okay, he's back. And then they took us immediately, they took him to MRI to make sure there was no permanent damage to his brain. He just came from brain surgery like a couple hours ago. Wow,
what an ordeal.
It was, I cried after that. Like, I was like, I'm not sleeping just in case the heart, but I was like, I'm laying next to him. I was laying next to him and holding his hand, and you don't even realize, and then this machine goes flat, and this is the worst noise. And it honestly, even now when I hear the noise of like flight lines, I get kind of like, anxiety.
Oh, I imagine. That's just not going to go away.
No, it's never going to go away.
No, probably not.
But the funny part was that Nicky was actually very good in the hospital. Like he wasn't trying to pull the virus because he had the grid in his brain, and they were monitoring him. He wasn't aggravated. He wasn't screaming. He was just watching TV and laying in the bed. I think I was a bigger mess than he was.
Yeah, I can relate.
Yeah. And then a week after the surgery, he had the last surgery where they cleaned up everything. They were monitoring the seizures without the medication. They were monitoring everything and then clean it up. They cover his brain, and we were another 3 days in ICU, and then he was released. So the seizure stopped. Likely, Nicky did not have a seizure since 2007.
That's good. Excellent.
Yes. But the behavioral thing, the older he got, the more aggressive it is. And it's getting, like sometimes, like honestly, I feel like I just want to run.
I hear you. I do.
I just run. But at the same time, you're like, well, I can't. Right? He's still my child. And I made the promise when he was born that I will take care of him no matter what it is.
Yes.
So he doesn't, he doesn't take any, he's not taking any medication. He was on Vigabatrin, 6 of them a day, then they lower it to 5 a day, then they lower it to 4 a day, then a 3, and, always monitoring the seizures. Seizures didn't, he doesn't have any seizures as the last MRI he had.
That's good.
So it's good.
Knock on wood.
Yes. And we don't give him no more Vigabatrin, right? So he's not on any medication. But when I went to talk to Dr. Dobrinsky, the neurologist, we tried to put him on behavioral medication. And I forgot the name. And honestly, I don't, I'm very bad with the medication.
Oh, no, that's okay. That doesn't matter.
No, but what happened, the medication made him more aggressive. So I told the doctor, I said, I don't think he can be on a medication. So we tried everything, and I found out that he loves Lady Gaga. So when he's aggravated, I literally had to put Lady Gaga on.
Really?
Poker Face, Million Reasons, anything with Lady Gaga. He hates Britney Spears.
Really? Good.
Oh, he hates her. Like, I remember watching magazine, and she was on the picture, and he literally took the magazine, threw it out the page, and throw it in the garbage, throw it on the floor. I'm like, okay, we got that point. You hate
not
Britney
Lady
Spears.
Gaga.
No, exactly. And he